strictly for entertainment for myself.
And it hasn't been entertaining for you? Because that's our goal in life, is to entertain Renee. And if we've entertained you through recording this podcast, then we've accomplished all the goals.
I mean, it is very interesting to me.
we did set out in the first episode and kind of talk about what we thought the podcast would be.
I don't remember that.
But I think it's sort of deviated a little bit.
A little bit.
But it's okay.
I mean, I'm doing this strictly for my own entertainment and amusement and hoping that somebody enjoys it and gets a good laugh.
Well, there you go.
And then when I lose interest with this, we will fire you. Because I'll be done.
Fire who?
Our listeners. Because I'm done. If you've met me, you get it. If you haven't met me, oh, I'm sorry. There's a void in your life. I don't know.
This could be the longest recording day ever.
There's not as much structure as there usually is.
Clearly you need structure.
I do better with structure.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm doing this.
I think you started perfectly.
Oh yeah, that's the easy part. Fine. Yeah, I know who I am. I know why
are we doing it? We're doing it to spotlight interesting stories and things that are happening in our community. So people that live here can learn more, but also people from other communities and small towns can learn what's happening here and, I don't know, maybe realize they're not so strange.
When you say that, I'm going to go, ditto, Sarah, and then we'll just go.
I did just say it. I hope to God she's recording. So there you go.
Ditto. Totally agree. That sounds lovely.
So those are the reasons why, and to just solely entertain Renee.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, I wake up every morning and think, how can I go to work and entertain Renee today? Shall I actually do a physical dance or just pop into her office and distract her multiple times during the day?
I do believe there's some truth to that statement.
There kind of is.
I know there is.
Especially on rough days. I've learned to navigate these waters where, is it a day she needs distracted? Is it a day you just don't walk in? Okay, and you do the same for me.
First of all, that makes me sound really high maintenance.
It doesn't. You just have a stressful job.
And I'm not high maintenance. Okay, I am. I am, but whatever.
Our podcast should be about truth, not lies.
That's what it is.
I would say you're moderately high maintenance. You're not super high maintenance. But you support yourself and you do just fine. So who cares how high maintenance you are?
Kind.
That's what I say.
Okay. I'm sorry.
We've deviated, but maybe you'll get a lot of outtakes
for
a highlight
reel.
She
still needs that first thing.
Hi, I'm Sarah Stevens Cup.
And I'm Renee Smith. And
we
welcome
need to
to our
do this
show.
Reel. Episode 11, At the Parkette, Part 1.
Let's start with something new.
Here we are, and it's a new and different location for our episode today.
Why, yes, it is.
It is.
We are not in our traditional office space.
No.
We have taken to the streets of Fostoria.
That's right. And we're in the beautiful Parkette at the corner of Main and North Street, right downtown Fostoria.
We are, and this is another fun-filled episode. Shut up and listen.
Small Town Stories.
With Sarah.
And Renee.
Yep.
So we're out here. We put the word out that we were going to be at the Parkette this morning to record our podcast. So I'm super excited, interested, intrigued about who might show up to sit on the couch and talk to us today.
I completely agree. I think we're going to have a mixed bag of individuals. I know some people were really excited about this opportunity. And it's always fun just to see who shows up, talk to them about what's going on, what's new. Hi, Deanna. Come sit down. Have a seat.
What a beautiful morning.
I know.
Oh, my goodness.
Welcome
to
the podcast. Thanks so much for coming this morning.
For having me. This is
we
great.
appreciate you participating.
Yes.
I'm glad to participate.
Out and about on this lovely morning.
Yes.
So we're so glad you stopped by because you have
a lot going on.
Yes, tirelessly working on a very exciting thing in downtown. And I guess I'll just kind of share with us what you've been up to.
Okay. So it's been about 2.5 years in the making. And we've just kind of taken the old building and tried to restore a lot of the older pieces of it, just to kind of allow everybody to appreciate the architecture, and then added some little new, more modern type things. And then, of course, we are opening a coffee and tea cafe. So
we're so excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited too. So it is, what we're going to have is, when we're open fully, we'll have coffee-based drinks, tea-based drinks, smoothies, and then also we'll have some pastries, some of which eventually we'll be crafting in-house and baking every day. Then others we will be getting from a bakery in Wood County.
Okay.
And then also we're going to be getting hand-dipped ice cream, and that will be coming from Hancock County. And then all of our roasting, our bean roasting, will be out of Seneca County. So we're kind of trying to encompass the Tri-County area.
Everything about this.
Yes.
I love everything about it. We're real people. We keep it real.
We're pretty authentic.
So I really love this. Can we do this outside thing all the time?
I love this.
It would be fantastic.
I love this.
This is great.
I think we should do an afternoon version, have a cocktail, something with an umbrella perhaps.
How do you know that this isn't?
You picked up your cup. What is in your cup?
This is a no judgment zone, so, you do you, boo.
Sadly, it's not. It's collagen, vitamin water, you know.
That's so scandalous.
I know. I'm telling all my dirty secrets.
Yes.
That's what we're here for.
That'll be the later one. When she does have a cocktail in that cup, we'll get out some good stuff.
This is Shut Up and Listen Unplugged.
Oh, yes.
Ooh.
I feel like something was just born.
I think it
Perhaps.
was. Maybe we'll set up at like one of the night markets with the Dora and just have people come and chat with us.
I so love that idea.
I think we should.
Sold.
If we've sold
Mark
dinner,
your
it's
calendar.
done.
Swing back by. We'll see what we can do.
No, I'm just maybe, close to approaching an age milestone, so I thought I would do collagen.
Oh, you're
and
almost
age
30.
Oh, I love you.
I'm trying really hard today.
Almost 30. Yes.
You're going to be just fine. I promise you.
Oh,
promise you.
30 hit me hard. I don't know what the next one.
Embrace it.
25 about killed me.
It did.
I could see that.
Yeah, after that it's been nothing, but I have a couple more years before I hit a milestone.
It's really okay. It's a number on paper.
Let's
It
just say
doesn't
how much
really
younger
change
you are than
anything.
not that much younger, but it's still younger. Okay, so let's take the win for Renee.
She's not 40 yet, so she's okay.
I have a couple years.
She's
before
all right.
40.
I feel like I hit 40, and you just don't. It's not worth like wasting a bunch of mental energy on it. Cause
dude, I hit that.
It is what it is.
I hit that mentality at like 32ish, 33ish.
Yeah. I mean, you're only old if you act old. It's fine. I mean, it's weird when
the
you.
problem is I act young and feel old.
That's why I'm drinking collagen.
Episode 12, At the Parkette, Part 2.
We were in the car, we were driving here, and we turned it on, and we laughed. You guys are funny. And I was like, I don't know that I set out to be fun. Like, this is who we are.
This is who we are.
I'm like, that 98% of this is unscripted.
The good, the bad, the ugly. This is it.
The most scripted we've ever been is when we talked to Micah Hyde, because I felt like I should probably, I don't know, pretend I know what I'm doing. And I love this location. So we moved our normal furniture here, so, we had some sense of comfort. But I love that, you're wearing your sunglasses, and I can see the reflection of the buildings across the street in your sunglasses, and it's this beautiful picture. It's like a mirror reflecting out, and it's really cool. Just random Sarah observation.
Well, I have a sunglasses problem, much like I have a shoe problem.
It's a collection.
A handbags problem. I have a lot of problems.
It's a curated collection.
I'm
an enabler. It's a curated collection.
I have a lot, and these are one of my personal favorites. They were like $7 from Old Navy,
They're
but
very glamorous.
They're
looking.
so big. Oh my God! Our next guest, who has popped over to see us, is the mayor of Fostoria.
And how do you feel about the mayor?
I love me some mayor. It is the one, the only, Eric Keckler.
The Honorable
Oh, thank you for
Hello,
the warm
sir.
welcome.
I almost did it without laughing.
I feel all warm and fuzzy. Thanks for the
Well, you know,
thanks
that
for
was
the
the
lovely
goal.
introduction.
As we start this Thursday, we want you to feel all warm and fuzzy.
Yes,
What
we
a
want you to
delightful
feel
morning.
so
Isn't
special.
this
This is
gorgeous?
I mean, we could not have we randomly picked this date and the weather's perfect.
I like this a lot. It started out perfect this morning. Beautiful blue sky and comfortable. Come on.
I know.
Nice work.
Thank you.
Beautiful
Nice work,
blue
ladies.
sky.
Thank you. We ordered this one up special
I
for you.
figured that was how that worked out.
Because, you know, it's all about you.
Yes.
Well,
That's
yeah,
not true.
Yeah, sure.
It's
No,
all
it's
about
usually
Renee.
about you, yeah. But maybe today, for these maybe 5 or 10 minutes, it can be just about me.
That's going to be a
it's gonna
struggle.
steered back to you,
So
that's for sure.
let's not promise anything.
I do too. I'm excited about all these things.
No, it is great. It really is.
Not sure what's going on over there, but
I
that's
don't know, but
okay.
it sounds like somebody's doing some kind of improvement or work. Sounds like a dump truck dumping or
It
something.
does.
Yes. These are the sounds of activity in downtown.
Small town USA, people. This is what happens on any given day.
And what people can't see is what cracks me up is people drive by, people are waving like crazy.
Yeah, I saw
Yes,
somebody,
you know, we're all
saw
just
somebody
like,
pull up
hey,
and wave at you
hey.
a couple
Mike
days
from
ago.
the brewery drove past. We're like,
I know.
hey.
And then I just looked up and there was a pickup truck that had a decal of Donald Trump in the back window. And for a brief second, I thought Donald Trump is in the back of that vehicle. I mean, obviously,
would-
I realized it wasn't
That
true, but
would-
it did give
yeah.
me a brief jolt.
I mean, for this podcast, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
The national
You-
political
you-
attention that we
yeah.
are getting.
There's
Yes.
such buzz around
Yes.
this podcast. I wouldn't be surprised if the Donald himself doesn't come to visit one of you days.
Yes.
Well,
That would definitely be an interesting morning.
Yes.
Yes.
but we try not to be political on here, so let's
Right.
change the
Exactly, but I
subject.
just, thought it was humorous.
Yes.
It was, and I'm the one that brought up
You
Donald
started
Trump.
it.
So.
That's right.
Yes, it's true.
Stuff. And we're sitting here in this beautiful parquet, and I know that you were extremely helpful in facilitating this beautiful mural that sits behind us.
Yes, this was a near and dear project to my heart. This has been here for about a year now, incredibly. We had about 45 different community members help. Mural artist Vicki Murphy from Columbus. They broke these mosaic tiles, and it's a lovely photo spot as you're sitting right in front of it. Podcast viewers can't see, but we invite them to come check it out.
It's so sweet that you mentioned that.
I was just
were
gonna
setting
hear
up,
the story,
and
yeah.
there was a father here with 3 of his kids, and we were talking to him, and they said their favorite part of the parquet is the swing.
The swing!
Which made me laugh because they're like, "Here we come here and swing," and we're like, "Wait, what?" Oh, yeah,
The
it was
photo
neat.
op.
Yeah, and they
Yes.
love the sculptures, and we're talking
Yes.
about looking at them, and
Yes.
Speaking of the
Yeah.
sculptures, there are now 3 permanent sculptures in this parquet. I mean, it's so beautiful. And, I don't know if you really follow art a lot, but, if you look at a painting and you have the eyes feel like they're following you, you got to walk around this new sculpture over here, because as you walk, it's like it's rotating with you. The zig and the zag do different things. It's kind of an amazing,
And these
unexpected
are
feature.
I-beams from the St. Wendelin
Yes.
High School on County Line
Right.
that we salvaged, and in partnership with the Midwest Sculpture Initiative, specifically their director,
Yes.
yeah,
he worked with us to design these out of those I-beams.
Yes, Kenneth Thompson did this. He had a vision. He's like, "Oh, get those I-beams to me. I can do something for you, no problem." And I didn't know what to expect. You think, okay, it's I-beams, it's steel. What are we going to do with it? And he knew what other pieces we already had here at the Parkette, and this is what he came up with. Again,
And
it's
it's
just
awesome.
incredible.
yeah.
Also want to give a shout out on that particular project to Great Lakes Community Action Partnership, along with Rural LISC. They were able to get us a creative placemaking grant that made that possible. So it's just not only a really nice piece, it's such an interesting piece of history as well. So
Episode 13, the UrbanWoody Brewery with Mike and Tiffani.
So opening a business, especially a business that's a brewery, and it's like a social gathering place, was extremely difficult during COVID. And as a new business owner, that had to be terrifying.
It sucked.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
tough because I don't think without her marketing that she does, I don't think we would have survived.
Well, you guys were able to pivot in some ways. So
Yes.
what kind of stuff did you guys do, and what did you see from the community perspective?
So we're, if you've ever been here before, we're small. We have, what is it, a 2-barrel fermenter system, but we've recently expanded, so it's bigger now. But in 2020, it was relatively small, so we were doing smaller batches. When COVID hit, we had to move to, what do I want to say?
Growler fill is what you were doing.
Curbside.
Yeah,
Thank you. I could not think of the word. Curbside pickup. Because nobody was allowed to come into the brewery.
Yeah.
So I designed some howlers. He didn't want any part of it. Thought it was a terrible idea.
That is shocking.
And that's why you handle that part of the business.
Yes. So I designed some howlers with our logo on it. We got them in April. And like that weekend, I had put it out there on Facebook that we were going to do howler and growler fills. So we only do howlers. That's half of a growler. 32 ounces, but if you have a growler, which is 64 ounces, we would fill that too. So people would pull up, Aiden would come out, get their howlers and their growlers. He would sanitize them in buckets before he would bring them into Mike, and Mike would fill them, and I would take care of like what they wanted, the order and the payment and everything. So we did that for a couple weeks, like a few days in a row. And it was, I think, the end of April, beginning of May. It was a Friday night. I had put out there that we were doing howler and growler fills again, curbside. 5 o'clock, I look outside, and I kid you not, there was a line of cars all the way down Tiffin Street East, on back west, both sides of the street, and around the corner of people waiting to get their howler and growlers filled. And I wasn't able to get a picture because we were so
I know,
busy.
and we never got a picture of that because you and I have talked about that. And
it was so overwhelming to see something like that in Fostoria at a time like that when everybody is struggling at such a weird time. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But yeah, it was very overwhelming.
But what I love about that story is, and we've heard this message from so many of our local small businesses, it comes back to the local support that you find within the community. And I think you guys and your business here is a real testament to that as well.
It absolutely
You guys
is.
see it week after week.
Yes. We have so many wonderful people who have supported us. Just by coming up here, helping, volunteering their time, offering help even, just any time. And it's overwhelming, and we're just so appreciative of it.
And I mean, when I think back about that night of the growler and howler fills, like it gives me goosebumps to think about, because the support has been, it really does, because that was such a...
I was chuckling about something completely different.
Something happening on the street
I'm
behind
like
me.
a squirrel, and I see something happening off to the side, and I can't help myself.
Okay, we might not be able to do outdoor shows with Renee anymore.
It's
she
a lot
gets very
for me.
distracted.
I get overstimulated, and it's too much for me. I'm totally with you again.
But during that time, I mean, I know that you guys saw it, and even it continues. I think people started to realize how much local support really does help local businesses. But what I love about the brewery is you come to the brewery any hours that you are open, and it's its own little community.
It's Cheers in
and
Fostoria.
It is. But then somebody new comes in and they're welcomed. I mean, I have friends that live outside of Tiffin, and they said, we love going there, and we come, and everybody's so friendly, and they're not part of like, I guess your normal crowd. But it's always so welcoming, and they show up all the time.
And that was part of from day one, our theme of what we wanted this to be. I used to watch Cheers all the time. So
and you wanted to go where everybody knew your name.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's how I feel when I walk in here. I love it.
And people have said that over and over and over. It's kind of like that, and that's what I want to hear that, because that's what we're about. And about the community, about people coming back all the time.
Episode 14, Kristin, VanCuren, Koester, Calico, Charlie's, Candy, and more.
So, would you have any advice? There are people out there that have ideas, and maybe you're doing a side hustle. You had an idea, and you've kind of continued to push it forward. Would you have any advice for anyone that might be listening to this podcast that is thinking about taking that next step but has some hesitation, or anything you would tell them?
A few things that, at least for me, that was helpful. One, when I first came up with the idea, I think Matt, my husband, I think was a little bit like, okay. And then I was kind of talking to Mike and Tiffani from UrbanWoody, just throwing out ideas. And they're like, huh. So like talking to other business people like that, like taking co-starters. And I really feel like, since I grew up in Fostoria, I really felt like, are there that many more new people I could meet? I mean, it's a small town, but once I got
knows everyone. Wow.
Well, it just is like, it's a small town. Like, and I'm like, I've met so many new people from, just hanging out, but also because I said it when I was able to come in and talk to co-starters. Volunteering at events has been huge. It has totally widened my circle of people. And again, just giving you that opportunity to talk through like your ideas and then and whether they provide feedback or they just listen, or you kind of can gauge like, is this anything that's of interest to other people, do you think? I mean, I think all of that really helps.
Episode 15, City Council, Part 1 with Steve Kauffman.
You talked a little bit about there was a perception of, people think, oh, council has all this power, things like that. But what do you wish people actually knew about council?
Please remember that this is a family-friendly podcast.
Listen, I think that I wish they knew, and I've been on record saying this, I wish they remembered we're their neighbors.
Yeah.
That we shop at Kroger too. That we're not faceless congressmen in Washington D.C. And I think a lot of the vitriol that is aimed at our federal and state politicians has drifted down to our local politicians. I remember my wife when she was on social media reading something online about how we're all on the take. And she looked at me and she goes, "Where are you hiding this money?" because we can walk out here and I can show you the rust spots in my 150,000 mile truck. That just doesn't happen. We're just not those people. And so I guess that's the first thing, is that these are community members that have stepped up and are volunteering to do this. Yes, there is a little bit of pay involved. Trust me, it doesn't amount to anything. But it is a lot of grief for not a lot of reward, unless your reward is trying your best to make the town better. Eric and I have talked about this a lot. He can't win for losing. We could welcome in a factory of 200 new jobs, and people would say, well, it should be 2,000 new jobs. And why is the road all torn up? Well, we're trying. I mean, things take time. It took time to get here, and it's going to take double that time to get out of here. And so I guess that's the one thing, is that we're citizens of Fostoria just like they are. And then I guess the second thing that I'd really like people to know is that there are procedures and rules and things in place, and not necessarily up to our control. You hear a lot about people wanting certain access, and well, you guys should do this and do that. Well, if the state of Ohio says no, you can't do this, and say that, we can't do it. I mean, that's just the way that is. We can't go against the rules and the laws and that kind of stuff. And so maybe if people could work off of not work off of the assumption that we're all crooked and all in it for something, and work off of just start asking some questions. Hey, why don't you, instead of why don't you? Would make a lot of difference in what's going on.
Episode 16, City Council, Part 2 with Mike Shaffer and Mennel.
What do you think is the biggest misconception the community has about City Council that you would like to clear up?
I see a lot of comments on Facebook from time to time that basically points out that City Council isn't doing something, or we need to be working on certain things like the streets, or different activities that are happening in the community. And I think that before I came into council, I probably would have been in that same mindset. I'm thinking, City Council isn't doing certain things that I'd want them to do. But what I realized is it really takes a lot of the municipal side of things, the mayor, safety service director, all those, to kind of get everything planned and prepared prior to all of this happening. And really what council does is they're that final approval when things come through. They're the group that's really looking at, hey, is the money there? Can we afford to do this, and does it make sense to do this for the community and for the citizens when it's all said and done, and to be a voice for the people? And so I think that where some people get a little confused, they think that it comes across on Facebook that we're the ones out there paving the roads, or we're making the calls to pave the roads.
There's Mike Shaffer. He's always driving the roller. He's heading down the street.
Yeah, right. But I think that I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions, that we're here to help. We make that a final approval. We have to do our research and due diligence to make sure that things are going to be the best support for the city and the community. So.
And I think people don't realize the years of planning that go into streets that are going to be paved a year out, 2 years out.
I think there's a 10-year plan,
and
honestly, right
now. And what goes into putting together city budgets, and then keeping all of that in the framework of making sure you're following Ohio Revised Code and you're operating as you should. There are a lot of steps to making things happen.
Right, there sure is. The amount of work that goes into different things, and even with the door is an awesome thing, and the amount of work and planning that you two put into all of that, and to make that happen. I mean, you handled that perfectly, and and there was opposition, obviously, right? But you know what? You look at it now, you see the community, all the great events, man. It makes me so happy, to see this stuff. And I bring my friends in now from Toledo, Findlay, and I said, 5 years ago we didn't have anything like this, and this is amazing. Look at this. And everyone, all my friends, they're like, this is cool. I didn't realize Fostoria was this kind of cool. Which
is great to hear.
Right. So it's the vibe, everything that's happening with our community is getting so much better. So.
There's definitely great momentum.
Yes, for sure.
So if you could say one thing to your constituents, or if there was one thing you would like them to know, what would it be?
Oh, the constituents.
Yes, the constituents. You're talking to your public.
That's...
I'm sorry, the look on your face.
I know.
It's just priceless to me.
It's almost a painful question.
I feel like this whole process might be painful for you today. I'm sorry.
It's not supposed to be.
Well, I have no problems with constituents contacting me with meaningful requests or questions.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had some calls where I don't understand this. Would you please explain it? I'm more than happy to do that.
Yes.
But some of the emails we get are just amazing. And from people who really ought to know better. And that's frustrating.
And can you, without going into too much detail, when you say that are really amazing, in what way? Are they overly negative, accusatory?
No, they're just dumb.
Oh, I love the brutal honesty today. I do understand.
I'm sorry.
Episode 17, Mike Kerschner, Seneca County Commissioner.
What has been the most surprising aspect of public service that you have found over the last 8 years, good or bad?
Well, it's been good. I like to be part of the action. When you run a bank, you get involved in things, and you're part of a lot of different groups. The best thing that I can say is that I'm amazed and happy and just thankful for the number of volunteers in the county. Virtually every board that's out there, these people are giving their time and treasure, right? I mean, simple things like the Health Department Board, but also Great Lakes Community Action Partnership and the Historical Society, and certainly all the volunteer EMS people, volunteer firemen. Every group that comes in here is comprised a lot of people that are giving of their time. And that's really the fabric that holds the county together and holds the community together. The rest of us come and go. These people are real committed to whatever that specific group is or club is. And you got to give them a lot of credit for that. I mean, volunteerism it's just amazing. We tried to do that throughout my career, you know, to make sure we're part of economic development in Tiffin and make sure we're part of the Ritz and United Way and whatever else came up. But I'm astounded at the number of hours and the ability that people have to be able to be part of these volunteer groups. So kudos to all those folks. I guess from a negative standpoint, you know, there's a lot of people that just wake up pissed off.
Preaching. Just preaching.
You know, I'm not sure. I know I couldn't live a life like that. Yeah. But, you know, I run into over the 8 years, many of the same people, many of the same circumstances that are just angry. Mm-hmm. You know, about nothing in particular. Yeah. They're just angry. And I find that hard to believe. And you know, you put up with it. You know, the old saying is you got to put up with them for 10 minutes and they got to be themselves the rest of their life. But
that's a good one.
I love all
I got to remember that.
I love all your sayings.
But, you know, I mean, can you imagine getting up in the morning mad?
No.
And I think, you know, some people live like that. And it's exacerbated in that they then use you as a receptacle for their anger because you happen to be a politician or a public figure or whatever it is. They don't find me unapproachable, that's for damn sure.
Well, no.
The angry ones usually don't.
Yeah, they approach way the hell too much. Yeah. So I guess those are the two, you know, the positive side of things certainly outweighs the negative.
Yes.
But, you know, there are some negatives out there, you know. I mean, you know, during the turbine thing, I think one of the worst you remember moments of life, right? Yeah. During the turbine thing, there was a group that were pro turbines or whatever that spent, believe it or not, the last campaign $40,000 in ads to try to get me out of office, which I was astounded with. It. They spent a whole lot more money trying to get me out than I tried to get in. That's number one. But they put an ad in the paper and on the radio that said, you know, here's Mike Kerschner. He dislikes school children because he's given tax money back. And, you know, my 8-year-old grandson said, Pop, how come you don't like kids? So I said, well, that's crazy shit, you know.
Episode 18, Our Friends from the United Way, Libra and Evelyn.
So, with what you deal with on a daily basis, I mean, you're dealing with individuals that need a variety of assistance. Mm-hmm. That has to be a fairly mentally exhausting job. I mean, I know personally I could not do it. Mm-hmm. I'm just not equipped for that. How do you cope with that? How do you deal with it? What motivates you to get up and come to work every day, Libra?
because I mean, we both know Libra as being involved in other organizations and outside kind of that role, and you're a very positive, you know, genuine person that I think always continues to see the best in people. And I know Renee and I have had conversations.
I don't continue to see the best in people.
I mean,
so I don't know how you do. So this is a genuine question.
I'm inspiration.
We are very interested in the answer. But I mean, guide me, lead me, Libra.
But yeah, I mean, what motivates you to get up and do it every day? Because I think it would be really difficult.
Oh, that's a lot, guys. That's a lot. Well, it's deep here on the couch.
I can see I was just a warm-up act. So,
oh no,
we'll circle back
to you.
Wow. I try every day to treat people as I would want to be treated. So if I was in a situation, I try to look at every person that I meet. How would I want someone to respond to me? I think that I do try to see the best in everybody, and I think sometimes that can get me in a little bit of trouble because, you know, people lie. Surprise, surprise. So I'm just learning to try to go with my gut, my instincts with individuals. And, you know, I guess the truth always comes out in the end, what people are really intending to do. And that's just a small portion of individuals that I think try to just make the system work for them. But for the most part, I think people are generally, they're in need. They need that help. And if I can do anything to bridge that gap and help them in any way, I think that's what we're supposed to do on this earth, is try to help as much as we possibly can. Are there days that it gets trying and exhausting and overwhelming at times? There are. So it's always nice to say, well, it's time. It's time to go home. Let's regroup tomorrow morning and try to figure this out. And one thing I've realized is that some people have been dealing with some of their issues for multiple years, and I have to constantly remember that just one conversation with them isn't going to change everything just like that. You would love for it to help people like that, but it's not. So I have to constantly tell myself that it's not a failure if they leave the office and not everything's taken care of, because some people, there's layers of different things going on that you just have to peel back little by little, and also direct them to the different other people that can help them a little more than I can. So
thank you for sharing that. I really do appreciate it, because I have often wondered, and of course I didn't ask you one-on-one, I waited till you were sitting on the couch with a live microphone to pose that question to you. But now I'm going to pose the same question to Evelyn, because you deal with a variety of agencies in Fostoria. You mentioned mental health. You've got St. Vincent de Paul, which is dealing with a variety of people and issues. And you're assisting not necessarily the individuals that they are, but the agencies. What motivates you to continue in your role and do what you do? Because you've been in your current role for how long now?
It's going on 6 years. I actually feel like this is a gift to me for having spent 40 plus years as a marketing person and doing PR. I mean, not that it wasn't rewarding, but not like this is. You know, we're helping people.
Episode 19, Fostoria City Schools Superintendent Andrew Sprang.
What's your favorite thing about your job and your least favorite thing about your job?
Oh, that's my favorite thing about my job is graduation day. There's nothing better than, I see kids in good situations. I see kids that have struggled. I see kids that have made poor choices. But I see them all on graduation day. And, the junior senior high school came to us a few years ago and talked about them getting to pick the kids get to pick who gives them their diploma. And I think that could be probably the most impactful thing, honestly, because when you get to see just that connection that the kids have with that staff member that they have chosen, the hugs, the tears, the words that you get to hear that you don't, that aren't necessarily picked up on a hot mic and things like that. It's awesome. So I think that's probably the thing that I love the most. And you can see that these kids have overcome challenges. Kids are growing up in a world that is way different than what I would have experienced, what you all would have experienced. Just different variables, the impact of social media, the impact of just other societal issues, unfortunately, drugs, mental health, abuse, whatever. But you see the kids that have overcome those things or, are dealing and are being extremely successful. So that's definitely the highlight. I think the downside of it is, the downside's even pretty easy too, and I think that's just social media and the impact that it has had. Because there's so many times that the district is put out there on a social media platform, and we're not going to engage in that.
You can't.
It's, no good is going to come out of it, but people take that as the end all be all, and I think we have to. That can be very defeating, and unfortunately, as we see in so many things in society, people make things personal, and it's, you have to get beyond that, and so I would say that's probably the most defeating part of the work.
Episode 20, these are a few of our favorite things.
We're very fortunate here that we do have so many locally owned businesses.
We do. People notice. They notice those little things. And if you can get them a gift that has a little story, and even if the story is, this came from Fostoria, they appreciate it so much more.
It's a story.
And that small business that you just supported, it means the world to them as well.
It really does. And when you look at your small, locally owned businesses, they are the ones that contribute most to the community.
They are.
Whether they're constantly, donating to a kid's little league team. If you get out to those fields, look who's sponsoring those kids. Look who's on their t-shirts.
Absolutely.
They're constantly being asked to donate, and they're donating. And then the tax dollars that you're spending in their store are staying in our county and in our community.
Yep.
They're not going to another state or another city because of, that's where those corporate headquarters are. So when you spend money locally, more of it stays here. Well, thanks for listening to the best of 2022 of all of our episodes. We really appreciate you going on this journey with us.
And what a wonderful year. I mean, when we started this at the beginning of 2022, I had no idea what we were getting ourselves into.
No, we really didn't. Because if you listen to our first episode, we explained it all and we said we'd derail. I think we did, but I think we did in the best way possible.
We did, but I have to say, I've learned a lot this year.
Me too.
And we've talked to some wonderful people.
Yes.
And we just appreciate all of you listening in and going on this journey with us.
And we're super excited for what 2023 will bring.
And I'm so glad that you mentioned 2023.
Oh, yes. Why?
Well, I'm just curious, as we go into the new year, do you do New Year's resolutions? And if you do, what would be one? Give us a taste of a Sarah resolution.
I haven't done like a true year resolution for a while. I try to do a little bit shorter term, but I was thinking about it, and normally what I think about coming into a new year, it's in the past couple years, it's been kind of me focused. And so for 2023, I really want to look outside, and I want to look to what can I give, how can I serve?
That is wonderful.
Well, thanks. How about you, Renee?
Well, much like you, it would be foolish of me to make a resolution that I think I'm still going to be trying to obtain in 6 months, because I will have lost interest and moved on.
Wait, what? You lose interest?
It's shocking,
You need
isn't
to be
it?
entertained?
No.
Shocking. Okay.
So I usually do it in like 3-month increments, and typically the first part of the year is getting back on track with my own personal health. You tend to derail during the holidays.
I feel like that's just a given now.
Yes.
Every
yes,
January 1. Okay, come on.
Time to lock it down. So, yes. But I agree with you. I look at 2023 and I think it could be a year of opportunity and change, both personally and with the community and with a variety of the people that we've interviewed this year. I think there are exciting things on the horizon.
I 100% agree.
So again, thank you all for sharing 2022 with us here at Shut Up and Listen.
Small Town Stories
with Sarah
and Renee.